Hello, everybody, and welcome to webinar 3 on formative AI and apps for formative language assessment. And I'd like to start with a question, which is, how would you use WhatsApp and Facebook in formative language assessment? As you know, that WhatsApp and Facebook are very popular applications that we all use. So if you think of these two applications as tools in formative language assessment, how would they be used, or how would they be exploited in that way? And as you know, that formative language assessment means that you measure the progress of your students over the course of their study. So for example, every class or every lesson. So to answer this question, I'll be talking about two things in this webinar. So this webinar will be divided into two sections. In the first section, I'll be discussing WhatsApp and Facebook as two formative assessment tools, and then I'll move on to discussing the potential and affordances of formative AI website, and it's a really efficient website that revolutionizes the world of formative assessment. So let's start with WhatsApp. If you think of WhatsApp as an application in education or language teaching, so what uses can you think of? So based on my own experience, I can see that WhatsApp can be seen in the three angles or from the three corners. So it can be content-oriented, or parent-oriented, or student-oriented. So content-oriented, I think you are familiar with this. Content, we are sharing with our students via WhatsApp groups the content covered in the lesson, worksheets, samples of textbooks, all of these examples, just sharing with them. We are the doers and they don't do anything. Just they may finish these things, the worksheets, just have a look at the texts, and that's it. And parent-oriented means, I think you are also very well aware and aware of this use. So as a teacher, you share with the parents, or actually the parent here, timed the schedule, instructions, student photos, and specifically supplies and requirements. So again, here the focus is the parent. You are communicating with the parent. And the third use is student-oriented. It's directed and geared towards the student or the learner. So in this case, you are sharing with the student interactive tasks. The student has a role to play. Students do things themselves and share with you, where you can give regular feedback to let students improve their performance. And also, in this case, it can be a platform for responding, participation, and collaboration. So if we look at the three corners, mostly our use of WhatsApp groups with our students, so specifically in schools, are focused on the first two uses, the content-oriented and the parent-oriented. Students are not active in that process. So what we need to do is to gear that use towards the benefit of students, and to use WhatsApp groups as a shadow class. It's a kind of a reflection of your in-person class. So what do I mean by this? I mean that students have to do things, they have to interact with each other and interact with the teachers so that they benefit the most. So let's explore together the potential of WhatsApp in that arena. So first, we can focus on the speaking. We can look at WhatsApp as a good platform for practicing and harnessing speaking tasks and improving the speaking skill. So for example, You can send your class on WhatsApp a question. You can type a question, and then the response to that question has to be a voice note. So you can activate the voice note feature on WhatsApp to encourage your students to respond to your question in spoken language and to practice speaking. This is one variety. Another variety, respond to a recording. You can send to the WhatsApp group, again, a podcast, an audio clip, or an audio or a recording. You may record a question and then invite the students to respond to that recording. Again, here, the students are elicited to take part and participate. Thinking of collaboration and cooperation, which is pair work and group work. This also can be done on WhatsApp groups. So how can you do that? Each one of you as teachers know the names of your students in the class. So you can assign roles. For example, you can assign 2 names per each pair, and you ask this pair to start their exchange on WhatsApp. One initiates a question and the other one answers that question. One initiates a language function and the other one responds to that function. And once a pair finishes, the other one initiates, the other pair initiates their role. The same thing can be applied to group work. Also, role plays can be applied on WhatsApp groups. So for example, if you think of, the conversations you can find in your textbooks, you can make good use of those conversations that you can assign roles to your students. So they play those roles on WhatsApp groups, or you can tailor roles for them, and then they can play those roles on the WhatsApp group according to a scheduled time, according to the scheduled or the scheduled time or the time you assign for the task. All of these are possibilities. You can think of more if you explore. Other, other tasks or affordances that WhatsApp can provide us is the technology or the feature of image editing. All of us, send images on WhatsApp. So we can make use of those images. For example, we can send worksheets, we can send graphic organizers, we can send texts. And via the image editing tool, which can be approached through the 3 vertical dots to the right side of the screen, students can edit the image, they can write, they can select using different fonts and colors. So it's interesting to young learners and adults as well. Another possibility is that you can send, mind teasers or brain teasers to your students, like sending riddles. This is another task, and invite them to solve the riddles using the language you taught. This is really interesting. And also you can send them memes and elicit response. So the purpose of all of this is to keep your students in touch with the language, even if they are away from the classroom. More possibilities include exit tickets, self-assessment, quizzes, and tests. And all of these possibilities can be done using the poll feature in the WhatsApp. I think that many people are not aware of the poll feature, but you can approach the poll feature on WhatsApp using the attach icon. You can select poll, and then you can make use of that poll feature in order to create an exit ticket. And the exit ticket, and as you know, is a question to be posed at the end of the class in order to measure students' understanding of the content or the areas they need to work on and improve. So the exit tickets on WhatsApp can be in the form of a question on the content. Like, for example, if you taught the types of TV shows. I may ask a question like, for example, Friends is a tragedy, true or false? So students will select the correct option based on the content they studied in the classroom. And self-assessment, again, you can tailor the poll feature, you can tailor the poll questions in order to help students measure their own progress, whether they manage to comprehend the language aspects they studied in the class or not. And you can create quizzes by the same feature by enumerating or releasing more than one poll, because only one question is allowed in a poll, so you can release as many polls as you want at a time. Okay, so this is for the WhatsApp application. It's really interesting and beneficial when it comes to speaking and language aspects. I mean grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary. But what about writing? When it comes to writing and consider WhatsApp, the layout or the design of WhatsApp, if you ask your students to respond to writing prompts and send them to WhatsApp, the result may be jumbled or messy area. You'll find a great problem reviewing and monitoring the pace of the assignments and giving feedback for each one. But on the other hand, if you look at Facebook in respect of that point, which is writing, the assessment of writing, specifically the formative assessment, you'll find that the design of the Facebook page is really organized to cater for writing. So students can, or posts, or someone can post, others may react to that post and respond to it in typing or in writing, and other people can respond to or reply to that response as well. So putting all that into consideration and approximating that to the assessment of writing, we can notice that Facebook can be good for students to showcase projects. So you can create the Facebook group so that students can reflect their creativity. So for example, if you want to assess their ability to synthesize grammar and vocabulary in a piece of writing to describe something, if you teach A1 students, you taught them simple words and you taught them present simple verb to be and present simple verbs. So you may need to check how far they can synthesize the language together in a piece of writing. So a very interesting attempt is to invite them to create a poster, for example, to describe their own routine, to imagine themselves as an object, and then talk about themselves from the perspective of that object, or to post a meme on WhatsApp related to routines, and then invite them to talk about theirs. So this is really interesting. You can find the responses of the students organized. You can give individualized feedback to each student. It's also a good platform for peer assessment, as I said, due to the feature of the comment. So students can comment on each other's works, and also you can, as a teacher, can comment on or give feedback to your students' work. So here, peer assessment and teachers' assessment are into play with each other. The same thing again, it is a good arena for self-assessment. You know, when someone posts a piece of writing or a project on Facebook and then looks back at it here, he or she does not look at that piece of writing from a writerly perspective. he or she looks at his or her own work from a reader's perspective. So things are different. You see your work from a different angle. So we provide students a good opportunity to evaluate their work from a reader's perspective. So here we are honing critical thinking skills as well. So that's for Facebook and WhatsApp for the formative assessment of speaking and writing. So here, this is an example of how things are in action. So this is the work of one of A1 students in my class. And this project was a response to this prompt. Here we have the prompt, the rubric showing the guidelines or the instructions of the task. And here how it looks, really interesting and real life work. Another example here, as I told you, this is a synthesization of the present simple and the language students studied at the end of Unit 1. So they started to show their imagination and creativity by writing or by responding to that task. And this is the meme. And here how the responses look on Facebook, that students comment on each other's. And as a teacher, you can comment as well. So things are organized. Now let's move on to another website, which is Formative AI. And this is a website which is powered by ChatGPT. It's interesting for formative language assessment. So if we look at the features of Formative AI, what makes it different from other websites? So you can say that Formative AI is a mix of Google Forms and Google Classroom. As you know, that Google Forms are widely used as a tool of creating tests, quizzes, and Google Classroom is a platform for building lessons, showing more. It's more of a classroom, so it goes beyond testing. So Formative AI is a blend of both. So you can find lessons and you can find at the same time ways to build exams, build tests and quizzes. Another thing that Formative AI is a time saver, because on the website, you can find pre-made formative activities that you can use right away from without spending too much time or exerting too much effort. Another important feature in Formative AI that it provides, or you can provide personalized feedback for each of your students. And imagine that you created a test for your students, and then some of your students did not perform well on the exam. So you can create something called poll in a small group or poll in small groups, where you can invite those students to work on questions tailored for the problems they have or the weaknesses they have. Another thing in Formative AI is the idea of differentiation. You know, neurodivergence and differentiation, catering for choices, the multiple intelligences. So Formative AI responds to all of these issues. How is that? If we think of Google Forms, for example, how many types of questions can you find or create on Google Forms? About 9 types of questions. But if you compare this to Formative AI, we have more than 20 types of questions. So which is, you know, inclusive and includes everybody and every learner. Another point is that you can find AI-generated feedback, and also you can upload an activity called hexagonal thinking. I'll be I'll be elaborating on hexagonal thinking in a moment, but I'd like to show you first the types of questions you can find on Formative AI. So these are some of the types of questions. I'll be highlighting some of them, and I leave you to explore the website altogether. So I'll be just focusing on the audio response. So students may be responding to a question not in typing, but they can respond in spoken language. They can draw as a response to a question. There are also other two types of questions that I'd like to highlight, which are the hotspot and the hot text. The hotspot means that I can upload an image related to the content I taught in my classroom. And then the answer is that students will locate an item that I ask them to locate. So this is very interesting for kinesthetic students who like to use movement, and visual students as well. Another feature is the hot text. And here, the answer to the question is through highlighting part of a text. So for example, if I ask students that pick all or highlight all the adjectives in the text, or highlight all the verbs in the text, all the adverbs in the text. So the answer here is that students will pick a color and highlight those items. So it's really interesting and suitable for visual students. Another type of questions is the inline choice. And the inline choice here is related to close or fill in the gap text. So in this case, it's not open. The options will be in a box. And next to the box, there is a small arrow. If you click the arrow, a drop-down list pops up, and students can click or choose the correct answer. So all of these are varieties for you to pick and vary your tests in order to include all of the learners and students in your classroom. Well, the question is, how can I access that website? As you can see, as any website, you have to create an account first. After creating your account, you'll have a homepage like this. So in this homepage, there is a bar on the left, and then we have Create on the right. Once you click Create, a drop-down list appears to you where you can see Formative and Practice Set. So the Practice Set, if you click Practice Set, you'll find a lot of cards ready-made for you to use with your class or with your students, and it covers a lot of language points. If you are in a hurry and want something for your students to practice, if you click Formative here, something like this, or you will be redirected to this page. And on this page, you'll find 5 boxes, and these 5 boxes relate to the 5 categories of testing you can create on Formative AI. So very quickly skating over these 5 categories. The first one, add question or content. If you click here, you can design a test or a quiz from the beginning to the end. You can choose the questions, and you are tailoring the questions yourself. Upload your own file. Here you can upload an image or a document, and then ask AI to generate questions on that document or image. Search the library. If you click that option, you'll be redirected to the library of the website. And on that library, you'll find an arsenal of lessons, not only related to English, but to other subjects as well. So it's good news for other teachers, geometry, history, science, and so on. You'll find lessons tailored on several subjects. So you can pick any of them and use them with your own students. And the same thing if we consider the educational system that we are working on, 2.0, which is based on CLIL or content-based. So we as English teachers can make use of the math and science lessons, the geometry, the history, and all of these things, or we integrate them into our textbooks. Another option is that you can import from your Google Drive. And here you have the freedom to upload any type of text, videos, audios, images, and so on. Or you can skip all of that and go to the final one, which is auto-generate from a prompt. And I would like to share with you how this goes. Okay, it doesn't work here, so no problem. We can go through this. Okay, so here how it looks. If you click auto generate, you have here a section where you have to choose the type of the question, whether it's true, false, multiple choice, whatever you like. And then you have to use a prompt to describe in detail what you want the AI to generate for you. And here I inserted a prompt, how to use verb to be in the present simple and present continuous in statements and question. And you have to be clear and specific so that you get good questions. You have to specify the grade, the subject. As I told you, it's not only related to English, so I selected English. And then you have to decide the scale of difficulty, whether it's easy, medium, or difficult. And finally, the language. And here you'll find a button called Generate. Once you click Generate, you'll find this page popping up to you. This is the preview of the questions that AI generated. And where you can modify the questions, you can add or delete, make an easier question, a harder question. Once everything's okay, you can click Add, and now your test or quiz is ready. After finishing your test or quiz, how can you assign this test to your students? Here on the top, there is a button called Assign. And once you click Assign, we have two options, either guest students or a classroom you created. If you did not create any class, as in Google Classroom, so it's very easy to use the guest student. Once you click guest student, okay, a barcode and a link will be created for you, and you can copy the link and the barcode and share to your WhatsApp group where your students can use to get access to the test or the quiz. Okay, well, that's all for Formative AI. All what you have to do is just go to the website and explore it. It's really interesting and helpful. Now let's go back to hexagonal thinking. You know that hexagonal thinking is a low-tech activity that we use in our classrooms. And as you can see, it's a number of hexagons, paper hexagons, on which you can write concepts, vocabulary, the vocabulary you taught, topics, and you invite students to make connections or links between these topics or points. So it's a kind of a discussion activity to invite students to speak. So this is the original activity. During COVID-19, 2022, on 2020, you know, students and teachers did not have access to classroom, so the activity was digitized in that form. So again, here we have the hexagons as well, and you can type on them the words or the concepts you want. So you can upload that again to the website and create that activity where students can discuss the connections between the concepts. So it's kind of creative. So to wrap up what we did today, we discussed the potential of popular applications like Facebook and WhatsApp in formative language assessment and keeping your students in touch with the language. We also discussed that WhatsApp is really beneficial when it comes to the formative assessment of speaking, while Facebook is appropriate for assessing writing and showing students' creativity, the 21st century skills, like collaboration, critical thinking, and communication. Then we discussed the affordances of formative AI website and the different types of questions that it makes available to different teachers. So thank you so much for joining me in this webinar, and see you next week.